What is the state of the airline industry today?
In the post July 4th period, there's no question that the spread of the virus, as well as all the quarantine measures that have gone into place, have started to pull back the demand expectations. So
Yeah.
I'd say we're in a kind of a cautious pause right now in terms of any additional growth.
Are your bookings, future bookings, tumbling the way United said just on Monday theirs are?
I wouldn't say bookings are tumbling. I would say bookings have stalled. We came through in June, week after week. We're seeing some pretty nice demand pickup as economies were opening up, particularly in the South. But then, as you've seen the spread of the virus pick up, those same bookings have stalled.
We just heard United warn 45% of their frontline workers, that's 36,000 workers, that they could lose their job come October 1st. Is Delta facing the same scenario in terms of potential layoffs?
We are facing potential layoffs, but not nearly the level that United communicated. Close to half of our staff have taken voluntary leaves for the month with no pay at all, just voluntary unpaid leaves. Second thing we're doing is we got an early retirement offer with our employees that's still open. And we're expecting, we already know there's thousands of employees have signed up to take that offer. And as a result of that, we're looking at probably a much lower impact number come October 1. And our goal is to try to eliminate, not have any furloughs.
Is there a chance at this point maybe you don't have to lay anyone off in the fall?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a real chance of that happening.
Delta has mandated masks for anyone who wants to get on your planes, but the federal government isn't, right? They're just recommending it. How hard does that make your job, right? Do you want the federal government to mandate masks on all commercial airlines?
It would certainly help, and I do believe that would be a good action. I don't expect it to happen, though. So what the federal government has done is left it up to each airline to make their own decisions. So masks are mandated on Delta, and for any customer who's not wearing a mask will not gain access to the airplane. If a customer does not choose to keep their mask on, that customer is going to lose their right to fly Delta for a period of time. And we warned them several times during the flight. We have had some customers we've had to put on those lists. But generally speaking, compliance is pretty good.
It sounds like a federal mandate would help so much in terms of requiring masks. Have you called the White House? Have you called the administration and asked them to do this?
Well, it's my we've had those discussions with the White House. The industry collectively hasn't given a strong point of view on it. At Delta, I feel strongly about that, but I'm not sure some of my peers at other airlines feel the same way. So as a practical matter, I'm not sure it's going to happen.
Does it trouble you, though, how political some of this has gotten, Ed, that, discussions over masks have become political, that there's, vocal disagreement between the president contradicting what Dr. Fauci says? I mean, I know it confuses many Americans. I wonder what it's like for you as a business leader.
Well, I think one of the challenges we're facing is that we've got a pandemic going on in an important election cycle. And as a result of that, everything, it seems these days, are politicized, not just the pandemic. So I'm frustrated. I think I can speak for corporate America. We're all frustrated with the politicization of safeguarding the health and well-being of our employees as well as our customers.
Let's talk middle seats. Delta's promising flyers right now an empty seat next to you. Does that mean under no circumstance will the middle seat be booked?
That's correct. So we've announced through the end of September that we're going to cap our load factors at 60%. So the plane will not carry more than 60% of the customers on board the plane, and that we are going to block all middle seats on those planes.
The head of PR at United says, quote, when it comes to blocking middle seats, that's a PR strategy, not a safety strategy. Is it a PR strategy?
I think it's a really important safety feature, and all the medical experts, and we have the Mayo Clinic. We're working down here in Atlanta with Emory. We've got a lot of counsel on this that indicates while you can't logistically expect airplanes to only or customers to sit 6 feet apart, On planes, distance matters, space matters.
Delta, all the big carriers received money from the government through the CARES Act at the beginning of this pandemic. For Delta, it was $5.4 billion, which is basically a taxpayer-funded government loan. You have now just this week signed a letter of intent to receive additional government funding through that. How much do you think Delta is going to need?
We've not made a decision to take the money. We've signed a term sheet with the Treasury Department to hold our opportunity to make a decision to the end of September. So we'll decide in the next couple of months, but we haven't made that decision yet.
If you decide to do that, I wonder if you will also commit to no layoffs for a longer period of time. If you take additional government money, we don't know what the conditions will be on that. It's a little bit different. But obviously, you know, it wouldn't sit well with people to then have job cuts. Where's your head on that?
I think that's right. I think there's a sensitivity that if you take the government, the second tranche, and then you turn around and use that money to fund a fairly significant reduction in staff, that would be something that airline would have to explain, both to the government as well as to its employees and community.
Warren Buffett said, I don't know if 2 to 3 years from now that as many people will fly as many passenger miles as they did last year. You've got too many planes. Do you think he's right?
I think he is right. I think it's going to take us 2 to 3 years as an industry to find that new level of normal. We're flying at scale, both for business as well as for leisure, on a global basis, comes about. And I've said many times myself, not only is it going to take 2 to 3 years, but this industry will be smaller when we get there to that new level of normal. I think there's a portion of business travel that is inefficient today that probably will not come back.
How do you think this crisis will define Delta?
This will be the crisis that will define Delta. We have a real opportunity to get through this crisis as a more resilient airline. I think resiliency is going to be something that's going to be redefined across corporate America, across our society. Resiliency, both financially, our health, the stability of our business practices and business models.
You're the only major U.S. carrier that didn't sign on to buy Boeing 737 MAX, given what they have gone through. But what about now with the changes and the testing? Would you feel comfortable adding a 737 MAX to Delta's fleet?
Absolutely. At some point in time, could I see Delta flying the MAX? Absolutely. I think that's a possibility.